All right, Millie, I'm gonna need you to ask to leave the chair. So I'm trying to film some videos. Hi everyone, it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing what I think is hopefully a very fun video. I saw it on Books with Lala on Ariel Bassette's channel and I honestly thought it was hilarious. So I wanted to attempt to do it here, and that is essentially to see if I actually read the books that I buy. So I'm going to be watching and reacting to my very first book haul on YouTube. And here's the thing about my time on YouTube. I've been on here for over 6 years, and I would say when I first joined, I did not know how to make a thumbnail. Not that I know how to make a thumbnail now. I would say I suck at making thumbnails, but especially then. I really just did really big text because I always forgot to take a picture. And two, during this time period, I've always loved fantasy, but when I first joined, I think I was just really excited to read what everyone was excited to read. So I picked up a lot of books, especially in the beginning, that I didn't end up reading, or they were in genres that weren't my favorite. So I'm a little fearful that I am not gonna have read a lot of these, but I'm really curious. I'm just gonna cringe along with you all because I'm sure I was very awkward in this video as well, but hey, we all have a starting place. Not to say I've gotten any better, but I'm gonna be watching, which is my oldest video on my channel, huge August book haul 6 years ago, almost 7 I think at this point. And yeah, let's just jump right in and see if I've read any of these books. You could also see at the beginning of this video I was still a little bit in my emo phase. Flannels, graphic tees with skulls, very much a thing, and my hair was so long. Hi guys, it's Reagan, and today I have a very exciting video for today, and that is my August book haul. And I have to say, this has to be my favorite book haul I've ever done, because my favorite one, so hopefully I've read some of these books. Also, if you didn't know, I actually had a channel before this where I filmed bookish videos. Dramatic story, I had to start a new channel. So I've technically filmed, this is technically not my very first book haul, but you guys get the point. And I'm gonna start with this one, which is The Diviners by Libba Bray. The Diviners by Libba Bray. I have read this book. I feel like this is a very beloved series on BookTube. I actually have not read the second or the third one in this series. This was actually a book I was nervous to read because I'm a scaredy cat, and I would say this is actually a very scary book. It's set in the 20s. I think one of the reasons why I haven't read the rest of the series is more to do with there was quite a bit of time in the release of these books between the first one being released. I don't even know if I have that book anymore, but I did read it and I did like it, and I honestly want to reread some of these books. Well, reread the first one and maybe continue on with the series. A lot of my friends love The Diviners, and hands down the prettiest book I freaking own is the prettiest book. It's a really pretty book. I would also like to say this video is just embarrassing. I did a lot of like emoting. A lot of emoting. This book I have to show you guys is one I don't think many of you have heard of. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I am wrong. But that is Scarlett by A.C. Gaughan. So I've read this book too. This is a Robin Hood retelling, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's a girl, she's Robin Hood, she's part of like this merry band of thieves. I think this is also a series I didn't continue on with either. I was kind of the queen of like starting a lot of book series back then and not continuing on. I don't know if I would reread this or continue on with the series. This is also a book I don't think I own anymore. But yeah, I was very excited about it at the time. And it was good. It was definitely entertaining. It was a quick read. Seems really good, and I love like folklore, like being turned into like more fiction. So like I like stuff like Robin Hood and King Arthur, so this really is just right on my alley. I thought this part of this was funny because one, I haven't changed in this regard at all. The next book I have to show you guys. Oh my god, Ruby Red, the book that took BookTube by storm in 2013. Let's hear what I have to say. This is something I'm very excited to read. This is one, freaking beautiful. Let's just acknowledge the beauty. Acknowledge it. And this is historical fiction, time traveling book. Just sounds freaking awesome. I also really want to point out too that I filmed all of my early videos on my iPhone. So if anyone feels like they need to buy really fancy equipment to start a YouTube channel, that is totally a lie. Start with what you have. And watch some early YouTubers videos to figure out what not to do. And then, but yeah, I filmed all of my videos on my phone and I edited them on my phone with the iMovie app, so just a heads up. Also, speaking about Ruby Red now, I read this entire trilogy actually. I've actually read all the books I featured so far, which I am shocked with. I don't like this trilogy. This was not a very good trilogy. I was excited about it. The covers were beautiful, but for me at the time, and especially now, I don't particularly think it's that great of a fantasy series. It definitely was fun. It has a lot of those cliches you would expect. And yeah, I was definitely very excited about it at the time. And a lot of people read this series back in 2013, for sure. Next one, of hype on BookTube. Bought it because of hype on BookTube. Been there still to this day. And that's Reboot by Amy Tintera? Yeah, Amy Tintera. And I really, really like the premise on this. This is a dystopian book. And basically, in a world, like, you die and then they bring you back to life and then they use you as like a super soldier. But the longer you've been dead, the less human you are. So it follows a female lead, and she has been long for 178 minutes, I believe. So she's like super, she's not really that human. Reboot. I did buy this. I also have read it. I'm actually shocked I've read so many of these books in this video. I did not finish the series. I definitely read this because of BookTube hype. I don't think I loved it. I'm not a huge like dystopian fan, and this was still definitely that period of time where there was a lot of dystopian books coming out. I mean, there's still dystopian books coming out, don't get me wrong, but I was still kind of reading them. I think I was reading this along with like Divergent and stuff like that, which generally speaking, I've just never really loved. Again, dystopian is just not something I gravitate to, but I did check this out. I read the first one. I think it's a duology, but I didn't continue on with the series. It was definitely, you know, it had its moment as well. Next two are very exciting for me, and I've already mentioned this one in a couple videos, but that's Legend. I've already read this. It's really good. It's dystopian. I already read this book at the start of this video. This video is so cringe. I have not seen this. I almost like want to private this video, but I'm filming it for you guys today. But yeah, I read Legend before the start of this video, apparently. I never also continue on with the series. Again, more of a dystopian story, not really in my field that I like to read a lot of, but another super popular book on BookTube. The book I've already read, and I freaking loved it, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. Throne of Glass. Let's just see what I have to say about Throne of Glass. And this is high fantasy, follows a main character that's an assassin. She is freaking awesome. She's freaking awesome. And the next one of the series comes out at the end of this month, of the month of August, and I do plan on picking that up like immediately. Like, boom, need it now, because this was really good. This was really good. I apparently didn't have a lot to say about it besides of it being really good, but yeah, Throne of Glass, I've obviously read all of those books in that series. I've read a lot of Sarah J Maas on my channel. That book was very formative, I think, for my love of YA fantasy. It was a really big, it still is a huge series. Obviously, Sarah J Maas writes very popular books. She's definitely not a perfect author by any means. That series definitely has elements to it that are problematic. It's also not the best thing, but it was one that I personally really enjoyed, especially back then. It's funny that I hauled Throne of Glass in this book. I was not expecting that, but to think Throne of Glass would just came out and the sequel wasn't even out yet. Like, what a time. Look how many Sarah J Maas books we have now, and that at the time we just had the one. The next book I have to show you guys, a lot of you I think will be very excited to see that I bought, and that is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. Oh god. Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. But I'm currently reading Shadow and Bone and loving it, so I got the sequel. Oh, so good. The next book I have to say about that too. Obviously, the Shadow and Bone trilogy, very popular as well. I've read the whole trilogy. I didn't love it. I really enjoy Leigh Bardugo as an author though. I've since read Ninth House as well as the Six of Crow duology, which I did really enjoy. The first trilogy of hers, Shadow and Bone, was just not my favorite. I think it had elements that I really liked, but overall I thought it was just okay. But yeah, I've read that. Honestly, there hasn't been a book in this book haul that I haven't read. I'm shook. I really thought I was gonna be like, haven't read that, don't know where that is. I don't think I own any of the books that are in this book haul anymore, just because I've moved so much since I filmed this. I was not even in college when this video was up. So yeah. And that is In the After. Finally encountered a book I have not read, I think. This is the zombie apocalypse novel, and it just sounds really awesome.
Basically, this follows
that was all I was gonna say.
Character Amy, and so the zombie apocalypse happens, and she and this little girl that she finds and protects or whatever is living, I guess, in like silence because you can't make any sort of noise or they'll find you for like years. So she's in this compound, but then one day I guess these people find her and they're like, oh, we have a safe place, but she's not so sure. So that's kind of the premise of the novel.
It sounds like a recent movie on Netflix. I have not read this book. I do not own this book. I don't read a lot of dystopian books, zombie books especially, so I don't know where this book is. I hope someone had it and enjoyed it though. But yeah, that's funny. In the After. I remember that book floating around for a while, for a little bit, but yeah, I have not read that at all.
Next one I got because there's the booktube channel, there's two sisters on Maji Bookshelf. And they really like The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. And I hadn't really had any.
This is literally just like the ultimate booktube starter pack video. The Raven Boys, the Diviners, Siege and Storm, Shadow and Bone series, the Throne of Glass. Every book in here is like the first book to a super popular series. 2013 me, man, The Raven Boys. I have read this book. I have not finished the series.
The next book I got, I'm really, really excited to read, and that is Star Cursed.
Never read it. This is the sequel though to Borin Wicked? I don't even know. Let's see what I have to say.
By Jessica Spotswood. And this is the sequel, or book 2, to the Cahill Witch Chronicles. So the first one's Born Wicked, and I was right, it was the sequel to Born Wicked. I did read that, which I think I say in this video. I don't think I ever read Star Cursed or continued on with this particular trilogy. It's like a witch sister trilogy. It was fine, definitely of its time. I won't pick this up anytime soon, but did read the first one. Honestly though, I've done pretty well in terms of what I have and what I haven't read so far. Moving on to the last book I got from Amazon, and it was an impulse buy, and that is Jane by April Lindender. And this is a retelling of Jane Eyre. Only reason why I bought it, because honestly, I have a feeling, I don't know if I'm gonna like this book.
So, my love for Jane Eyre persists to this day. I still love a Jane Eyre retelling. I love any type of kind of classic retelling. That's something definitely true about me. I did actually try to read this book, and Book Haul Me from almost 7 years ago was right. I ended up not liking it. I think it just wasn't, I think it had to do with like a rock star. It just really wasn't kind of the reimagining of the story that I was looking for. So yeah, I did try to read it, but I DNF'd it. So I still think that counts because I tried.
The next 2 books I have to show you guys, I bought at a local real like discount bookstore. And they were all new, but they're all under
So the last few books, I thought that was the last one, but the last
first
few
one
I
I
got
have to
from
show you
half-price
was
books.
$2, and that's really the only. And it's Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. Not really my genre at all, being contemporary, but I was like $2 for a hardback, and I was like, maybe one day, maybe one summer day, which is coming to an end, so maybe one day next summer, I'll be like, I want to read this, and then I will. So now I have it. I think it's a cool cover. I bet I'll like it.
So that summer day has not happened yet. I actually really like Morgan Matson. I've read quite a few Morgan Matson books, but I have not read Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, which is like definitely I think one of her most popular books, but I've read like 3 or 4 of her other ones. I actually really like them. They tend to be fluffy and fun. They have family at the center. As I said 6 years ago, contemporary is not really my genre of choice. I only read 1 or 2 contemporary books a year, generally speaking. It's really, I don't even know if I own this book anymore either. Yikes. But yeah, that's really funny. I was like, I bought this, maybe I'll read it. Everyone loves it. Still haven't read it, so whoopsie.
The next book I got is It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. And I bought The Summer I Turned Pretty at the beginning of summer. I haven't read it yet, but I saw this there for like $4, and it's the second one in the trilogy. So I was like, oh, well, I should probably pick it up now because it's a really good price, and I bet when I read that, I want to read this one, so it's my train of thought.
can't really fight that logic, but I actually have read this. I've read this entire trilogy. I really love Jenny Han's contemporary stories. They tend to have a lot of drama and angst, and it's just something I've always found to be really entertaining. I actually think I have a review of this trilogy that I filmed freshman year of college. I don't know if I want to recommend you guys to watch that because I'm sure it's just as cringy as this video I'm forcing myself to watch right now, but I have read it, so I'm happy to say that. My impulse buy of it being a good price paid off because I read it. I also think I bought a box set. But yeah, I actually loved the summer trilogy in college. I thought it was so entertaining, edge of my seat, like could not put it down.
The last book I got from that location, this one I think I'll read much sooner than those two.
What could it possibly be?
And it's White Cat by Holly Black. And I actually haven't read a novel by Holly Black other than, what is it called? The Spiderwick Chronicles. So I'm really excited to kind of delve into her other novels. And I hear this is really good.
So obviously I've read a lot of books since then by Holly Black. I really enjoy Holly Black's writing. She does fairy super well. It's funny that the only book at the time I'd read were the Spiderwick Chronicles, which I still stand by that rec. Never read this book though. Do not own it either. I don't think I own any of these books. That I think is also still true. So moving on to the very last book of this book haul. I cannot wait for this video to end because I am in so much pain watching myself, but hey, you know, it's fine.
And the last book I have to show you guys is the book that I got or received from Jenny from my book swap, and I'll link that down below, and that is The Shadow of the Wind.
So, I own that book still. I own it. I cherish it. It's right up here. This was a gift from my booktube friend Jenny, who lives in Germany, and I actually visited her about 3 or 4 years later. But yeah, we did a book swap. I read this book. It's one of the best books I've ever read. I still own it. I really enjoyed it. I cherish it. So hey, I do actually own a book from that book haul still. And this is a book I really stand behind. All the other books I also really appreciated seeing, given that they're just like such classics. Like, it's hilarious for me to think about Throne of Glass being the only book out in that series. It's funny to think about like just one book from the Raven Boys is out, or like just Siege and Storm. Like, what a time to be alive. But yeah, I do still own Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. And it was a gift from me, from Jenny, and I cherish it, and it will always be on my bookshelf. But yeah, so I actually didn't do that bad. I think I've read 4 out of the 14 books that were counted, that I counted. Hopefully I didn't miss one. So I think proportionally not terrible. I'm honestly shocked because my TBR ratio, generally speaking, not great. But yeah, I guess that booktube hype really sucked me in that video, and I read so many of those books, which I'm happy about. A lot of them I didn't finish the series, but I at least read the first one, so that counts for something. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope so, because I'm so embarrassed. Hopefully I leave that book haul up and not private it, because yikes. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you want me to do any other type of reaction videos, as I'm happy to do so. And I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye.